I'm sure Ms. Kelly Flannery will make this up. I hope no, she doesn't have to. We're here for the finance budget hearing. We have Director Flannery in front of me, and I just want to say before we get started, she has been a big help so far in the budget process. I said so far. I hope moving forward, she is as helpful as she has been. So I will leave the floor to you, Director Flannery.
Well, thank you, Chairman Roten, Vice Chair Gamble, council members. The last 18 or 20 months, I think you've probably seen more of me than you ever expected. And when I saw the agenda and saw finance on it for about 5 minutes, I was like, man, I got to go back up there. Maybe it was like an hour. It was more than 5 minutes. But then I realized, it's for all the times that I've sat up here, it's always strategy and policy. I never get to talk about the department. So I do want to spend a few minutes. I asked the department to send. We have a really broad portfolio. We do a lot of different things. And so I sent all the division managers a request, like, send me some highlights. And they cherished that moment and sent me 55 of them. So I've cherry-picked them down to things that we don't talk about as part of the process. Obviously, you know a lot about the budget and the debt. So these are all the things, like kind of finance by the numbers, the things that you don't get to hear a lot about. So if you just indulge me for a minute, I'm going to read off some of the amazing accomplishments of finance just in the last 12 months. So you kind of experienced the first one, but we implemented phase 2 of the new budgeting software that allowed for the budget book to be delivered with the budget ordinance for the first time in anyone's recent memory. We built and are working to implement a multi-year budget and planning model. Renegotiated bank contract to save Metro 3.3 basis points, or about $500,000 a year in fees. We created a payment card compliance program. Successfully processed and paid over 10,000 invoices per month and paid over 11,000 pensioners and 26,000 general government and MNPS employees. Produced the first ever public annual finance report. Automated the unclaimed property process through the use of Hub Nashville, helped recover over $18 million in indirect costs to Metro's general fund, processed 30 grant applications for 10 departments, total grants applications of $73.7 million were processed, 123 grant awards for 21 departments for a total award of $180 million, finalized reporting to the U.S. Treasury for the $121 million for CARES, oversaw the appropriation of $256 million for ARPA, processed dozens of water main, fire hydrant, sewer main easements, worked to develop a long-term strategy for Metro's real estate portfolio that will leverage the real estate master plan and provide a guide to implement critical short and long-term strategies. As you know, DEI launched the second iteration of the budget equity tool, which asks departments to identify the impacts of their budget requests on the fiscal year. I would like to report that DEI also has been selected to join the Living Cities Where It Starts Breaking Barriers to Business cohort. They received an accompanying grant from Living Cities in the amount of $100,000. And this cohort and grant are part of a 36-month initiative that will address systemic barriers preventing business owners of color from starting, preserving, or growing creation of jobs. And finally, in procurement, they processed 148 solicitations with an average cycle time of 117 days, which included 77 RFPs and 12 AE solicitations. And most recently, actually just yesterday, some staff from procurement and DEI returned from the Harvard Kennedy School because they were awarded the Leading City Procurement Reform Cohort Program, and they are aiming to address procurement challenges and help identify a solution. And they were really excited and impressed with that whole process. So I don't have a lot in our budget request. It's only a $200,000 increase from prior year. I think as a budget team, we're probably harder on ourselves than everybody else because we want to be the model. So I think we kind of starve ourselves a little bit, and we definitely did this year. But the one thing I do want to highlight that was in last year's budget for the first time and that we requested again this year was the additional funding that we requested and received for learning and development. I just want to share how we put that to work this last year. It included Excel trainings, attending lectures and conferences. We got professional certifications. Kevin's whole team got certified. Oh, I should have mentioned lectures and conferences. The reason Kevin is sitting with me today is because thanks to the funding you provided, the GFOA National Conference is this week, and can't move budget, can't move the conference. So a whole cadre of them were able to go, and Kevin volunteered to stay behind. So it's not his purview, but he's running a hit for me. So there's, all that training has resulted not just in additional knowledge, but also personal satisfaction. I think the greatest gift, yet most annoying thing that can happen is when a department director steals your people. It means you're doing it right. And Velvet takes one more and we're going to fight, but it is a gift to know that we're building people up, and it's a small group and there's only so much opportunity we can give. So if staff is able to thrive within the department or another department within Metro, or even take those skills and go, I think as long as we're building people's personal best, I'm comfortable with it, and I think it's gone really well. So in 2024, we are requesting that we continue to prioritize professional development and training because it's just critical and it just ensures our department's success. So that's really all I had for Team Finance. Just a thanks to all of Team Finance. It is a dynamic and committed and passionate group that really loves working for Metro. I mean, they really enjoy it. So this will probably be my last time here, and I just want to publicly thank all of them for their support. So thank you.
She acts like she's not going to come to any council meetings and be asked questions about the budget.
There won't be any questions because the budget is perfect.
Councilmember Allen, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I'm so happy you're up there this year because we had fun doing it together last year. So thanks for all your work on that. I'm excited to hear about the multi-year planning tool. If you can just talk a little bit more about what that does and how we get to use it.
Sure. It's always the dumbest things that hold us up. So we built this super dynamic model with our external consultant, and we did a whole bunch of WebExes back and forth. They flew in and it all worked fine. And then when they hit the send button, the macro in Excel wouldn't work. So it took ITS and them, without having to rebuild it, it took forever. So we've really just delivered a working version for us, and unfortunately we're in budget right now, so we've kind of put it on the back. It's ready to go. It will be a look forward. It goes 10 years, and I'm gonna be real honest with you, we could probably present something today, but it feels unfair both to the current administration and the next one, because what this group's priorities are and how we would decide what we should assume for growth and will be very different than the next one. So if we were to do a 5-year look forward and say, we expect to need this much money every year, and the next group comes in and says it was all a lie, it's really bigger or it's really smaller, it's just not fair. So I think that'll be in the transition plan. Here it is, and enjoy it.
Great.
But it's really good. We're really happy with it.
Good. Thanks for getting that.
Thank you, Councilmember Allen, and don't act like you're not going to help me with the budget at all. Anybody else have any questions for Director Flannery? Councilmember Henderson, you're recognized.
Thank you, Chair Roten. And stop me if this is among the questions that was posed to the department, because I know it was a question I think I added under Councilor Allen's chairmanship, but just roughly, and then if it is more granular elsewhere and already been answered, but in each sort of division of your org chart. So when somebody says, okay, well, there's 130 some odd folks in finance, can you kind of break that in bigger, like in, on the procurement side of the house, or kind of what the the chunks are, so to speak, sure. Just how for the departmental organization, like where the majority of the people are.
So the director's office, so my immediate team, there are 11 people. And DEI is 4. And sorry, when I said people, I should have said FTEs. Sorry.
Right, understood. Yep.
OMB is 17. Grants and accountability is 8. Purchasing is 27. Accounting, accounts payable, payroll, that whole division is 43.
Okay.
Public property is 6. And treasury is 12. And hopefully that gets you to about 130.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's very helpful. And then I was going to ask as well, you mentioned the procurement reform and the award that was granted. Can you speak a little more to that work was that was awarded, please?
Sure. So it was the Harvard Kennedy School. It's through one of the Bloomberg initiatives, the Harvard Kennedy School of Government. And it's a leading city procurement reform cohort. And I believe it's going to be 18 to 24 months. They just had their first meeting yesterday. Okay. They returned, well, what's today? Yeah, I guess it was Monday and Tuesday. And so I think there was, Kevin, keep me honest, 50 other cities, I think. And just brainstorming. I think this first session was what challenges are we experiencing and how is it like or not like other cities, and the purchasing agent's main takeaway was we're not as bad, like there's some real chaos out there, but it's opportunities for ways to engage new businesses into it, but also to modernize the processes and how we're treating it, and to take, for each department to maybe take a little bit more ownership in how solicitations are made and how relationships are managed, rather than it be procurement, go find a vendor, but how do they build relationships with vendors and kind of make those decisions more strategically than administratively.
I appreciate that. And from your perspective, would that mean, and I know as they go through this cohort, they will maybe kind of arrive at how to optimize that, and I don't know if that is informed by Ms. Wilson's group's work, but I know there had been some kind of concern over time that, to have people to be subject matter experts, right? Like if you had, so many procurements related to public works or NDOT and, just some of those processes that I think had been problematic or looked at, that might have even been prior to your arrival, Director Flannery. And I guess I wonder if they're kind of bringing to this cohort stuff they learned from previous challenges and problems, or is it just like we are what we are today and now we're just going to look at best practices, or are they bringing something to bear as like the work that they've done to improve some of the, scope creep and mission creep on some previous procurements that, came through audit as being problematic? And I know we did a fair amount of back-of-house stuff in public works, just around, problematic invoices, people, signing off on things that they shouldn't sign off on, specious assertions for the amount of hours that were worked by people at executive rates and things like that. I mean, we had some real problems. And so I just didn't know, from your perspective, have those been solved now? Are we in a best practice space? And how are we kind of bringing that to bear?
Yeah, I think the way that was a little bit before my time, but just knowing what I know from hearing the anecdotal stories, the way that procurement or purchasing now is, there are project specialists, for different things. They have portfolios based on their expertise. So every time water does a procurement, they're going to work with the same person or 2 or 3 people. It's not everybody's a generalist. There are specialists. But I think what's coming out of that cohort, and a lot of it the last couple of days, was homework. They had reading assignments. It was, I think, day one was to make sure they're all at the same place and exchange ideas, and then how do we move forward. But I think that was some of the takeaway was, and I'm guilty of it too. When I came to Metro, I was sure that every department was running their own model. I call it run your business. And it was that there was ways that finance and HR and general services and IT, like the admin departments, could be more helpful to departments. And how do we let people focus on their core mission? But there is a reality in that there are specialists. There can never not be a finance person in finance. And then I realized with the diversity within finance, like we as a department of 130 don't appreciate each other and what we do and how we all synergize enough. So that's what we've spent the last year doing as a department, is redefining our mission and how do we get there, and learning about each other before we can go and tell everybody else that they should rely on us more. And so I think that's the same kind of approach to this procurement is, do we all know who we are first before we go out and fix it? And I think that's the steps they've been taking over the last couple of years, and now they're ready to kind of expand it to the departments and explain to them what procurement is and how they can be more involved.
I appreciate that. And do you anticipate, like, I know there had been some concern somewhat during that transition time of like, okay, we've had some mess ups and some missteps here, particularly in Public Works. And then some concern about just right on the tail of that, before that was really fully, in my view, sort of resolved and cemented and kind of acknowledged, that we moved back into a space where we were doing like multi-awards that a lot of folks, I guess, out in the larger community did not think we were supposed to be doing multi-awards through the procurement code. Like just some of those things, like we've done it this way, and does the procurement code actually say we can do it that way? I mean, maybe we can, maybe we should, but I think there had been a disconnect from my impression in just, you know, a broad range of folks in the engineering kind of public works space who might contract with the city, you know, having felt that historically there was some, you know, kind of preferential stuff or stuff that wasn't right. And then it just seemed like when that was going to be addressed, we kind of stepped back in a place where we started just doing all this multi-award stuff so that like everybody could get a little bit of work. And I think there was concern if that was optimal really from a fiscal perspective or met our procurement code, or are you aware of that? Or are those kind of things still being addressed and looked at? And
I have not heard that concern during my time here. I know that the procurement code is extremely prescriptive. I mean, the law is very regimented, and so the opportunity to kind of piggyback on state contracts where we can is always preferential, and so maybe that lands on there being multiple contracts for one, but usually, while more administratively burdensome cost and fiscally, it's a better deal for us. But I have not heard of any complaints of that nature since I've been here.
Okay, yeah, no, well, it's not so much the piggybacking, which I think is optimizing, but I think it was just sort of within a certain space that had some variety in it, like just multi-awarding to, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 firms, and just some concern around that. And I felt like we didn't quite circle back on whether that was right or correct. So I can speak with you separately and Ms. Wilson, but I'm still, I think, you know, there are a lot of us as we come to the end of this term, just want to make sure that a lot of things that were kind of pushed into the light are fully addressed in kind of a proactive way, and we hang on to making that all that right. So. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, Councilmember Henderson. Seeing no other hands, Director Flannery, I appreciate you very much for being here, and I look forward to talking to you a whole lot. Oh, I see we got another hand, sorry. Councilmember Nash.
Before you get away, the next mayor would do very well to look at you and your team.
Oh, I appreciate that, and just personal privilege, I do want to thank Chair Roten, former Chair Allen, everyone bailed on me, former Chair Swara, our Vice Chair Swara, Vice Chair Gamble, all of you. It really has been an honor and a privilege, and mostly enjoyable. So thanks for it.
Notice she said mostly. She hadn't. She's still halfway through with me, so it's. You're done. You're out of here. The next and final on the list tonight is the Arts Commission. So, Mr. Singh, you can bring your folks down here.